Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to the Audio Analyst. Pardon me. Those of you who have been following my journey will not be surprised when I tell you that I've been using and experimenting with footers since their genesis back in the summer of 1983, which saw the introduction of both the sorbethane-footed Mission Isoplat and my friend Steve McCormick's machined aluminum Mod Squad Tiptoes. But the devices I'll be talking about today, Joe Lovrenchik's Critical Mass System CenterStage2, is something altogether unique. Now, there can be no doubt that all such devices make a difference. But that difference can be, well, less than desirable in many cases. The best ones clearly afford some form of unveiling and let you more clearly hear things like silence between notes, microdynamic rendering, and spatial cues. They can remove or help nullify external influences, which must be viewed as a disordered and chaotic force that, if left unaddressed, will manifestly pollute and contaminate the purity and clarity of your system's true voice. However, less effective footers merely shift resonance to differing frequency bands, or even worse, amplify them. And while they will clearly sound different, many of them don't really offer significant improvement. They only serve to compound the musical chaos and confuse the sonic landscape and tempo with their own murkiness and sullied contributions. Now, essentially the problem that the CenterStage2 and ostensibly all such footers attempt to address is the minimization of the effects that room-borne vibration can inflict upon a system of components introduced to the system from the transducer motion of the loudspeakers, as well as from any other external sources, like footfalls, nearby passing traffic, or even air handlers, like those from your whole house air conditioning or heating systems. Now, this undesirable energy infiltrates any object in the room, most importantly our audio components, as vibration. And Joe's contention is that all the components in your audio system are constantly vibrating when music is being played, and as such, will eventually establish a relatively constant state of necessarily unnaturally higher equilibrium, much like that of a single platter turntable, as I described in last week's episode. Now, this elevated state of equilibrium is what invisibly and consistently degrades the performance of our components. With the selection of the right materials applied in the correct sequence, proportion, and with the addition of the correct amount and type of damping in exactly the right locations, the CenterStage2 is said to be a catalyst in a complex energy reaction that occurs between your equipment and its environment. Essentially, it intercedes to stabilize the otherwise prevailing unnaturally high state of equilibrium in that energy reaction, to permanently sustain it at a reduced or damped state. In a very simplistic view, the critical mass system's CenterStage2 footers act as a highly sophisticated drain, a mechanical diode of sorts, for induced and generated vibration in the components that rest on them, giving that unwanted, corrupting energy a route out of and away from those components, thereby reducing disordered and chaotic resonance within the component itself, and converting and dissipating that energy as heat. Joe claims that the reason that components take so long to settle on these unique feet, and why the system's sonic signature swings so wildly during that period, is related to the second law of thermodynamics. Now, I'll refer you to my print articles linked in the comments section if you'd like to see the more in-depth information that Joe has shared with me on this subject. I just don't have the time to cover it, as important as it is, in this video. Okay. Now, before agreeing to this project, Joe wanted to point out that there was a downside to their installation. He cautioned me that due to the way they work, The disruptions they would bring to the system when initially inserted might make the system sound, well, not great. In fact, he suggested that it might be almost unlistenable at times. He warned me that over the space of many days, the system equilibrium would be affected, and that there would be clear and rather dramatic audible shifts in the sonic attributes of my system. With that caveat firmly established and accepted, I installed 30 of the CenterStage2 footers, which come in 3 profiles. One that is 8/10 of an inch tall, selling for $320 each. Another that is 1 inch tall, selling for $445 each. And finally, one that is 1.5 inches tall, selling for $695 each. All of them share exactly the same 1.5 inch diameter. Now, when Joe delivered and installed them, I was in the middle of several reviews, and my system included my reference Kronos Sparta turntable, Helena tone arm, and the airtight PC1 moving coil cartridge, all feeding my Dynamic Sound Associates Phono 2 Phono stage. Digital was rendered by either my Windows 10 based PC, optimized with Fidelizer, using Rune, or my extensively modified McCormick UDP-1 optical player, both handing off to a Hegel HD30 DAC. Now, the line stage in for review at that time was the Constellation Audio Inspiration 1.0, along with a pair of Constellation Audio 1.0 stereo amplifiers in a vertical biamp configuration, driving my Von Schweikert Audio VR55 active loudspeakers. Signal cabling was all from Stealth Audio, including the Helios phono cable, Soccer V12 single-ended interconnects, and the Dream V14 speaker cables, while all power and USB cable were flagship products from Audience. Power conditioning was also managed by an Audience Adept Response AR12 and a pair of Quantum Symphony Pros, with the total system investment surpassing the $300,000 mark. Now, once installed, I immediately noted a loss of extension and control in the lowest regions, a lessening of the overall sweetness and air to treble, a general softening of detail, starting in the upper mids, extending up through the top octave, as well as a noticeable loss of focus and specificity to staging and imaging. So, with those observations, I set my favorite burn-in track to repeat on my music server, set the volume to about 60 dB at my listening chair, and walked away for the night. So, I logged some listening in the late evening of days 2 and 3. For both sessions, I played music from my music server for about an hour or so, sampling from my most frequently used demo tracks. Now, I found the system sounding rather dull and dry, surprisingly unengaging in nearly every way on night 2. But man, it was almost unrecognizable and unlistenable, just as Joe had warned during night 3 session. Bass extension was severely limited and had become both bloated and ill-defined. Leading edges were softened to the point of smearing, and mid-range focus and specificity were diffuse and amorphous. But worst of all, there had been a distinctly cooler shift in timbre. As I finished up my notes and restarted the run-in track, that was all I cared to think about that night. Now, I had no time to listen on night 4, but by night 5, God, I was treated to some real magic. For an entire 4.5-hour session of that evening, which I shared with a good friend, sampling his LPs as well as mine. This time it was an all analog session. We were utterly transfixed. I mean, bass and mid-range bloom and body had returned, as had a large portion of the previously missing sparkle and air above about 3,500 hertz. The sound bordered on beguiling and sounded much more engaging and involving than it had before their insertion, and not by a small margin. It had been a highly emotional listening session, and after I bid my friend goodnight, I restarted the burn-in track and stepped away. Now, I noticed a minor diminishment of performance, some interesting variations, on night 6's listening. But by evening 7, all of that night 5 magic had returned, and then some. Guys, I was transfixed during my early evening listening sessions and took a ton of notes. The most obvious improvements these footers present may be distilled into 3 basic categories. A substantially lowered noise floor, remarkably improved warmth with more realistic body, more natural tone and texture, and a vastly enriched, more enveloping and immersive soundstage. Oh my God. First and foremost, there was a newfound laid-back, relaxed ease to the presentation. The overall noise floor had seemed to plummet. Markedly lower than I had ever noted without the footers in place. The resultant stillness this afforded the music, by way of a darker, starker background, was just intoxicating, adding a power and persuasiveness to everything I played, allowing me to be informed as much by the silence between musical impulses as by the effortless drive and pace of the musical gestalt itself. There was an enhanced definition of pitch extending from the lowest notes on a pipe organ through the decay and trail of a struck triangle, allowing for the more complete development of that sense of effortless, unfettered extension, replete with the perception of air of and around instrumental voices that allows them to regenerate that final compelling measure of attack, decay, and especially trailing ambience. What I was hearing with them in place was a paradigm shift in performance. Enhanced pitch definition, especially down into the deepest regions of bass. Greater resolution of fine detail. Notably more naturalness to instrumental tone colors, including their textures and verve, offering more bloom, more clarity and focus to mid-range voices, and to the air and space around them, all of which have assumed a more haunting degree of space, body, and honest physicality. What a spatial presentation, guys. The resultant sensation of three-dimensionality and the sense of overall immersiveness, it almost borders on surround sound from stereo speakers. The use of 4 of the 1.5-inch CS2s under each of the Constellation amps revealed much deeper, more powerful, and substantially more defined pitch in the bass. A decisively more accurate tonal shift, and a deepening and tightening of focus of imaging and sound staging cues, which had become even more expansive, more enveloping, and more accurately sized. I really was having trouble believing so much change can be wrought by such an ostensibly minor change. The addition of a mere isolation footer? Come on. It's crazy. The resultant magnitude of improvement they effect, in my experience, more closely resembled that achieved by a significant upgrading of electronics and maybe even the addition of an extremely effective power conditioner. Not the slight improvements in mid-range clarity or focus one might expect from these typical other footers offered today. Guys, it was as if my line stage amps and sources, even my loudspeakers, had been replaced by components that were at least 2 to 3 times more expensive. While I know just how hard that may be to believe, their impact, in my experience, is that significant. Just ask von Schweikert Audio's chief designer, Leif Swanson, who uses them for the same reasons under his very affordable electronics to the same effect. He experienced the same engaging and remarkable results, and has said publicly that he prefers the significantly more authentic and engaging sound of his $10,000 line stage and monos resting on CenterStage2 footers than the sound of a well-respected $25,000 line stage and monos that they use for voicing and testing creates without them. $10,000 worth of gear on them, better than $25,000 worth of gear not on them. Think about it. This stuff's amazing. These are utterly remarkable devices, guys. Now, while I expect that there are results, or that the results of each installation may vary to some degree, in my experience with them, These are the most effective tools to release the otherwise unrealized power and capabilities of the gear you already own. To say that the critical mass system CenterStage2 footers are game changers may be the father of all understatements. They are so remarkable, in fact, that companies as prestigious as the Swiss electronics manufacturer Solution are installing them as OEM footers on their electronics, with several other companies having followed suit. Now, I would never dream of suggesting that $14,000 worth of footers is either an insignificant investment or, in any sense of the word, inexpensive. But the degree of improvement that their installation alone wrought in a system with a retail north of $300,000 was so extraordinary as to render their contributions a bargain. Guys, I can assure you that I know of no other way to invest so little, what in this case was less than 5% of the total system value, to reap a sonic result that would otherwise unquestionably take a doubling, or even greater, in price to achieve. And even then, maybe not. I mean, these things are fabulous. These CenterStage2 footers represent a near quantum leap forward in their ability to unlock and release the most faithful and accurate voice your equipment can recreate. They allow the purity and clarity of its true voice, a voice that has previously been masked and contaminated by the unaddressed destructive polluting forces of vibrational energy, thereby setting a ridiculously high benchmark of performance. Guys, what Joe Lavrenchik has achieved with the critical mass system CenterStage2 footer is to realize the otherwise unfulfilled promise such products have heralded from their inception in 1983, and should be seen as more than merely an order of magnitude of improvement in their performance of a nearly 40-year-old footer product category. Guys, no, they aren't cheap, but they represent the highest degree of value obtainable from any isolation device known to me, and are the single most effective way I've yet found to release the utmost best from the high-performance audio gear you already own, period. Check them out, guys. They're phenomenal. Now, I'd like to remind everyone that all my videos and links to virtually everything I've had published on the web going back to the mid-1990s, as well as much of my printed material, is available at my Audio Analyst website. I've added a link to the site below in the comment section, so I hope you'll take a few minutes to check it out, and please let me know what you think. If you have suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. Finally, please be sure to like and subscribe if you are enjoying our conversations here. And don't forget to share these conversations with your friends directly. I want to thank you for dropping by today and wish you all stay safe and keep the music playing, guys. Till next time, cheers.